Bishop, you stirred me up a little bit there, Bishop. Bishop stirred me up a little bit there. My God, my God.
I'm tired of this t-shirt. Throw this away.
My God. I want to give honor to God today, who is the head of my life. Hallelujah. I give reverence and honor to our bishop. Bishop James Thompson Jr. Amen. Can we give him a good welcome? Amen. Amen. I give honor to Pastor Coleman, who has always been a welcoming face for us when we come to Rockford. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. I give honor to our pastor in her absence. Amen. She, for those who don't know, she's getting an award tonight at Power and Praise Crusade Ministries. Amen. She did not know. And I went through a lot of turmoil to get her to stay in South Bend. Amen. She was intent on being here today, no matter what. She knows this trip. It comes up every year. And I got a phone call a few days ago from Shepherd's Ivy Butler. And she said, your wife just called me and said she can't be with us on Sunday. You have to do something. And I read into what she was trying to tell me. I said, yes, ma'am, I will work on it. But I didn't go into this alone. I called our bishop first and asked if it'll be okay if she would be excused from this trip. Because I know protocol, amen. And I know our pastor came up in a church where protocol is number one, amen. And he said she's getting an award, she needs to stay there because it's an award that honors her sacrifice. The late night phone calls, the hospital visits, the tarrying, the people coming at 2 or 3 in the morning and knocking on the door, amen.
Amen.
And she is being honored as we speak, amen. Her adjutant is with her, amen. And I do believe Inspired Missionary Brenda is with her at this time. Amen. I've learned a lot about Holiness Church of God in the last 6 years. Bishop, I came up in a Baptist family. I grew up in a Lutheran church and school. And I'd always been taught that once you accept God, that you were always in. But I learned quite some time ago at the Holiness Church of God that you have to live a certain way. Amen.
Come on.
You have to be set apart. And that you have to come from amongst them.
Right.
You have to live holy and live righteous. Now, I'm not going to tell anybody that this is an easy task because this flesh rises up against us every chance it gets. You can walk out of a red hot service and get a phone call and it'll make you want to cuss somebody. You can pray for 3 hours and somebody will come by and take you to that place. You can be studying your word and somebody might walk by and catch your eye the wrong way. Because this flesh is never satisfied. But living righteous and living holy is the key to this thing. Amen. Amen. I'm going to ask everyone to turn their Bibles to the book of Job, chapter 1. Job has taken a hold of me lately.
All right.
This book has 42 chapters in it. And it's not the hardest book, the easiest book to read. Job was a righteous man. Job was blameless and upright. And from this we can understand, we can extrapolate that he was a good man without sin. Job had 7 sons and 3 daughters. Job was the richest man in the land of the East. And like Abraham, they counted his riches and his prosperity by the livestock that he had.
Come on, bring it. Come on.
He had 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels,
Come on.
500 yoke of oxen,
All right.
500 female donkeys, and a very, very large household. Job himself was a man that lived very righteous. His sons would have parties at their houses and bring their sisters over and their friends, and they would do things that weren't quite so pleasing to God. There's been a couple people in the Bible, Job is one of them and Abraham is the other, that were ordained by God but not by man. See, they could go to God with a burnt offering and didn't need a priest to intercede for them.
Come on.
See, in common practice back in this time, you had to have a priest raise the offering to the Lord. But Job and Abraham both had a special place in history. It tells us in Job that his children would party and do things that were not pleasing. And it says later in the book that Job would go early in the morning to his son's house and wake everyone up and take them down to the altar. And he would send up a burnt offering because he knew what they had been doing. And he wanted to make sure that they were protected. The book of Job stands apart in terms of historical setting. On one hand, certain aspects of Job's life sound just like Abraham. Amen. Amen. And if we go on to read Job 1, starting at verse 6. And it reads, "Now there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan also came among them. And the Lord said to Satan, from where did you come? So Satan answered the Lord and said, from going to and fro on the earth, and from walking back and forth on it. Then the Lord said to Satan, have you considered my servant Job?" And I want to stop there for 1 second. You see, Job, being who he was somebody that the Lord knew that he could count on. Job, being a prayerful man, was somebody who was steadfast in his faith. And after God said that, he also said that there was no one like him on the earth, a blameless and upright man, one who fears God and shuns evil. So Satan answered the Lord and said, does Job fear God for nothing? Have you not made a hedge around him, around his household, and around everything that he has on every side? You have blessed his works with his hand, and his possessions have increased in the land. But now stretch out your hand and touch all. Let me back up. Have increased his land, but now stretch out your hand and touch all that he has, and he will surely curse you to your face. If I had to have a title for this message, it would be The Gates Open. You see, up until this point, Job had this hedge of protection around him. You see, up to this point, God had formed an army. He had Job encased in this spiritual safe. But Satan thinks that he knows more than what God knows. Satan goes on to ask God to remove your hedge from around him. This reminds me of a story that an old preacher from Atlanta told. This old Baptist preacher by the name of Reverend B.W. Smith. Reverend B.W. Smith was in Buffalo and he preached a message called Watch Them Dogs. And I'm not going to take this message, which I've heard 1,000 times. My grandmother was the head mother of Antioch Missionary Baptist Church, and all my life growing up, all I heard was this tape over and over, and I enjoyed it every time. But I'm going to skip to just one part of his message. He goes on to tell us that there's a type of dog called a feist dog. See, we got feist dogs in our church. A feist dog is a little thing. They don't amount to much. But the whole time around, all they do is stir up trouble. They yip, 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 yip all day long as the pastor's around. Come on. And there's a story about this feist dog lived next to a man who had a great Doberman pinscher. Come on. And every morning, this man with this great Doberman pinscher would walk his dog down the street past where the little feist dog lived. As soon as the feist dog saw the Doberman coming, he would tear off the porch, run down the walkway, and hit up against the fence and yap, 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 yap all the way down the fence line. And that big old Doberman just kept on stepping. And this goes on every day for quite some time. But you see, one morning, it goes to show that when the feist dog's owner left for work that morning, he forgot to latch the gate. And so here comes this man with this big Doberman pinscher. Walking this big Doberman pinscher down the sidewalk past the house where the little feist dog lived. And the feist dog tore off the porch, ran down the walkway, hit against the gate, and bless God, it swung wide open. And this big old Doberman pinscher said, yeah, I've been waiting for this. He proceeded to turn that little feist dog every which way but loose. And the story goes that when he finally let the little feist dog go, he crawled up on the porch, wiped his brow, said, whoo! Who left the gate open? You see, there's times in our life where God's going to take that fence from around us, and I need you to know that He didn't do it because you've done something wrong, because the message here tells us that Job was a man without blemish and without flaws and without sin. But there's some times when God has to let you go through something to get you to where He needs you to be. You see, there are some times that we go through life and our children are out there doing things that we don't approve of, but we keep taking up for them. But I need you to know that sometimes you need to step back. You need to step back and let them go through something, because that thing that you're going through right now, or they might be going through right now, might come back up against them 10 years later. But when it comes back up the next time, they gonna know what to do. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Sometimes we have to remember that just because you got fired from your job doesn't mean you did something wrong. See, if you go on to read in Job, 3 of his friends came by to check on him. Because if you keep on reading, it goes on to tell you that Satan had his way with Job for quite some time. Satan went out and killed everything. Every child Job had, all 7 of them. Raiders came by and took his oxen and donkeys and killed all his servants except for one, and sent a messenger back to Job. And while that servant was there telling Job, he found out that another servant came out and said, Job, my master, all of your servants have been killed. And before he could finish that, another servant ran up and said, Master, my master, a great wind came and your children were in the house and it knocked all 4 walls down. And as he's telling this, another servant came up and said some more raiders came and took all the camels and killed the rest of the servants. While Job was going through this, he noticed some things going a little wrong with his body. You see, the God told him that you could touch him, but you couldn't kill him. And so the devil went as far as he could. He caused boils to go all over Job's body, from the soles of his feet to the crown of his head. And it says in famous Hebrew tradition, Job went out and put on a burlap sack, and he sat down in a pile of ashes, and he covers himself with the ashes, and takes a piece of the clay pot and starts to scrape away the boil. See, he's trying to scrape away this infection, and the reason why Hebrews did this, they sat down in this ash pile and they covered themselves with a burlap cloth, because they were trying to either purify themselves, cleanse themselves, or atone for their sins. And sometimes they might have been mourning a loss of someone. And as we see here, he's mourning the loss of everything he had, and he's trying to purify his body. So he puts on a burlap sack because he needs to know that he needs to go through some more suffering. Amen. You see, some of us get into a little bit of trouble, but we're not willing to go through it all the way before we ask God to pull us away from that thing. You see, just because you had to walk 1 mile and you gave up, if you would have went 2, there might have been a car into that mile. But since we don't have what it takes to keep going through this stuff. Job's friends even came to him and said, you must have sinned. You did something against God, because all these things are happening to you. Even his wife told him, you need to just curse God and kill yourself. But my. We will find out as we go through life that every test and every trial that we go through, God in the end is going to get the glory. You see, I need you to know that when you're going through life and you're trying to get to work and it's Tuesday, the gas light is on, but you find out you actually made it to Friday on payday and that same gas light is on, I need you to know that God got the glory in that. You see, there wasn't no gas in there. He was just pushing that car down the street for you every day. I need you to know that when you go to the cupboard to make some food for your kids and you ain't got nothing there, you go to mama's house and mama ain't got time for you, and your best friend said, well, I ain't really got it right now. And you go to the bank, you can't even get a loan, and your car is messed up, and everybody has failed you. But if you know that if you just hold on, that a change is going to come. You see, in the end, God's going to get the glory. In everything you go through, God's going to get the glory. Sister Harriet, you know for a fact that when you're laid up and you can't do nothing for yourself, all you got to do is seek out God and ask for his help. You know, I've been through a couple of things. I've been to the point where 2 hot dogs a day was all I could scrape up, and I didn't have no car, and I had no minutes on my cell phone, and some days I didn't have nothing, and I would show up at somebody's house about dinner times, and they might offer me a plate or two, and you see, when you go through some stuff, you start to appreciate other stuff. You see, when you go through a little bit of hunger and you don't know where your meals are coming from, but somebody gives you $5. I'm going to take that $5 and buy some bread and some bologna. I'm going to buy some noodles and some butter and maybe a little bit of milk, and I can eat for a couple of days off of that. But see, some of us for so long, we've had 3 meals a day. For so long, we've always had a car to drive. See, for so long, we never had to go through nothing. These kids today, you take their cell phone away, they want to go home and slap mama and cuss out daddy. See, these kids today, they want to get up in their teacher's face because they made them do the work that was required of them. You see, today, even we got this in the church. We got choir members upset because they couldn't sing enough songs to get noticed by somebody. And we got deacons in the church mad because they had to drive the old church van. The one that you gotta put your foot on the gas while you're at the stoplight, keep it going. You see, there was days when our people walked to church. They wasn't down the street. It was 4 or 5 miles and they walked there every day. You see, but today we got it too good. good. We got it way too good. See, there was days where our people came to church and all they had was the clothes they had on from the field, and they might have smelled like some oxen, and they've been carrying chickens around all day, so they didn't smell that well. But they was glad to get to the house of the Lord. You see, I myself have been to places where I had more than enough. And I might have had a brand new car and saw my friend standing on the bus stop. And did I stop? No, I hit the horn and kept on going because I wanted them to notice me and what I had, and I wanted to put them down. But you see, the way God works is, you see, that car got repossessed, and I had a job where I was making $7.25 an hour, and I was walking down the street to work one day, and it was raining real hard. And one of my friends that I worked with, they just drove on by. And you see, I couldn't be mad because the moment I remember what I had done to somebody else because I thought I was too good, you know. Whoa, boy. You see, there's times in life right now when you're going to go through some trials and tribulations. Somebody in here right now, their bank account got a negative balance. The first of the month was a few days ago, and I bet somebody rich still ain't paid. And I know that maybe your wife is getting on your nerve and your husband got a girlfriend. But and your kids are out here and they running around with people they shouldn't be with. Some of y'all worried about your daughter out here with another woman. I'm gonna leave that alone. But you know, this whole church guy, right, Bishop? Okay, I can tell how it is. Okay, all right. Some of y'all out here worried about your son coming home carrying a purse. But don't panic. Don't. Come on, evangelist. Whatever you need, God's got it. And whatever it might be, God's got it. And if I gotta go through a couple of more things to get to where He want me to be. You see, we all know the big magnificent church we came from. And right now we got a church about this size, Pastor Coleman, and everybody misses the big church. But sometimes God got to move you from where you comfortable at. You see, we get comfortable in things and we take things for granted. And now when we want to have a meeting, we got to rent another hall because we ain't got room for everybody because we got comfortable. But in the end, you see, God's got a present for you. Because if you go on to read Job, whoa, my. It tells you in the 42nd chapter of Job that when it was all done and God came to Job and Job questioned him, and when they had everything figured out, Job had 14,000 sheep.
14.
God gave him 6,000 camel, 1,000 yoke of oxen, 1,000 female donkey. He gave him back 7 sons and 3 daughters. My God. Job lived to be 140 years old. He saw all his children and his grandchildren for 4 generations. Job died at an old age. He lived out his entire promise. And I need to let you folks in Rockford know that that little church we in now is in by and by. See, we already got a contractor lined up. And we got a church that's sitting right now waiting to be built. My God. But see, Pastor Brooks said God told her he had to finish Mother Hopkins' dream. So I called the contractor, we met with him. And he said, for the price that you want, I can build y'all a church that'll seat 100 people. I can give y'all a basement. I can give y'all a full kitchen. I can give y'all everything y'all need.
Turn around.
And he said, how much y'all looking to spend?
Jesus. Come on, man, guy.
I had told the church how much. Y'all remember how much I told you it was going to cost us to build a new church?
Sorry for 9,000.
No. To build a new church. I told the church it was going to cost about $250,000 to build a church. I told them this 2 about 3 years ago.
Right.
That contractor came to me. He said, for $250, I can do more than that. I said, bless God.
Bless God.
So it ain't gonna cost us what we were looking to spend because we stay steadfast.
Yeah.
The little church we got now, we done had meetings, we done had women's meetings and men's meetings, we done had convocation, we got prayer meetings, we got study groups, we done had people over there to use our church because they big church and had no power.
Amen.
There ain't no problem with going through something. Because in the end, God is going to get the glory.
God gonna get the glory.
Ain't no problem with going through something when you got Jesus on your side. Ain't no problem with going through something when you filled with the Spirit of the Holy Ghost. There ain't no problem with going through something when you got a praying grandmother. There ain't no problem with going through something when you got an anointed bishop. Well, I'm coming to tell you today that don't be afraid of that test. You can't fail that test unless you give up. As long as you stay with God, you're going to pass that test. It might not be today, and it might not be over tomorrow, but I promise you, by and by, a change going to come. I promise you that if you stay on this path, if you stay in this race, if you keep moving forward, God will bless you in all that you do. And it's 3 things you can't do when you're running a race. You can't give up. You can't look back. And you can't forget God. Hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. I want to thank the pastor of this house for giving me this opportunity. I want to thank our bishop for being a true man of God. Whenever I come to him with a question or want to talk to him, he's always there. And I want to thank the bishop right now from the bottom of my heart. Bishop Hobson, I thank you. I just want to thank all the saints for coming over today. And we're all here with Pastor Carey today. And I hope somebody's encouraged. I just want to make sure everybody that needs to be encouraged is encouraged. You got pastors here. You got evangelists here. You got deacons here. You got ministers here, bishops here. So if you need something from God, if you need something from God right now, if you need just prayer, if you need a word, if you just need a touch, if you need a church home, I'm pretty sure Pastor Coleman got some room in here for somebody else. I'm sure that if you need to be baptized, I'm sure that if you need to know God for yourself, I'm sorry, I don't know why I'm going this way, Pastor Coleman. I'm sure if you need something today, if you need to get back to God, because we can backslide in the pews. Get quiet over there. See, we sometimes we get caught up in our titles. Sometimes we get caught up in the things, the position, that we forget and we lose our way. If you are that person, I'm not going to say I'm the one to come down there and lay every hand on you and all that stuff. But all these men and women of God in here will get to you today and say, if you're that person and you need something from God, if you need the Holy Ghost, if you need baptism, if you need a bologna sandwich to eat tonight, whatever you need, do not leave here needing something. Don't come in here don't go out of here the same way you came in. I know it's a cliche, but don't go in here and not get changed when you had the opportunity. Because tomorrow is not promised.
Amen.
There ain't no reset button when you get to those gates. You can't get another turn and try it all over again. And if that trumpet sounds right now, you don't have the Holy Ghost. going to be in a bad place. And if that second trumpet sounds, you definitely going to be in a bad place. I want to thank y'all for putting up with me today. Amen. And I hope somebody got something out of this word I brought today. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.